back? Yeah. Okay, great. I'm going to read 3 poems for you. They are part of a series where it's prose poems retelling this pathetic pantheon of people who are figuring out who they are. This is Minerva. If you know Greek stuff, it helps, but if you don't, hopefully it doesn't matter. Minerva, the young genius. Her friends called her Mine. Just kidding. She didn't have any friends, but they did call her Mine. Birthed from her father's throbbing migraine, she stepped through a temple vein like a crack in the marble, without gestation, emerging from the head like a stupid idea or the blank egg of a speech bubble. Mine spoke her mind and nothing, not even her own great mind, could stop her. What she wanted, she lanced with a spear or simply flung against the wall. A blue-bodied bird, a blue-eyed boy, a blue ribbon and oboe, spear, spear, spear. Desire to her was a game of darts. If one were allowed to simply walk up to the cork board, winning bored her. Contestants feared she would throw their skulls against the wall just because she would throw their skulls against the wall. One of these skulls, perhaps in earnest or trying to earn the helm housing his brain, called her the world's most promising muralist. Had she ever considered becoming a visual artist? He continued at great length, describing her genius. Shut up, she said, and he thought, surely I will die. Wait, waving a sketchbook frantically in the air, patting her hair, ears, pockets for a pencil. Now, she said, you talk, scribbling each word that came from the supplicant's mouth. Acephalic, what does this mean? How do you spell that? After taking his testimony, she smashed the man's skull in to complete the mural that she would apply to art school with. Say what you will, the talking man was right. She had what it took, and she took it. She used his last words for her artist's statement. She called the piece Portrait of the Artist as a Young Genius. Art school, so this is Minerva, the art student. It was in art school that a boy with a head made of moss told her that actually genius is not something you are, but a fugue state that comes and goes at will, like a little demonic minion. So she set out to capture the damn genius creature thing that dared live inside her without paying rent, trying but failing to sketch her genius, sitting in the light of the desk lamp in her shared studio. She broke the lead of her pencil. Then she broke her pencil. Just more lead. She broke old Mosshead's head, just moss. She broke wall clock against wall, desk, chair, desk. Broke water pipes, dimmer switch, wind. Broke bottles, broke hearts, broke Space Mountain. Broke Brokeback Mountain. Broke the world record in record breaking. Broke the foundation of the heteropatriarchy, broke curfew, broke the bro code, broke the bank, broke the chain, the cycle, the manacles of Western capitalism. But where, oh where was the genius? Stereotypes broke, expectations broke, glass ceiling broke, wedding rings, others and her own, the male gaze, the Western gaze, the gaze, the walls of nation states. It was all like popping bubbles to her. She popped the bubbles, blown by a little girl in a floral dress so tacky it looked like it was sewn from a throw pillow at a wedding in Brooklyn. She agreed to photograph, even though such work was woe and way, way below her. Broke. Where was the genius? Was this gesturing at a weeping flower girl genius? No matter how many quarry stones she broke, how many heads, hearts, promises, treaties, new frontiers, no one from the MacArthur Foundation called. Perhaps they were trying her old phone. They just didn't know. How could they? It broke. Life happens, and she's a wedding photographer. Minerva, the wedding photographer. I should say, if you don't know, when you have a can of Guinness, there's a little ball inside that's filled with nitrogen, and if you rip it open, you know it's just like a little white ball that you find in there. Minerva, the wedding photographer. What is it about weddings that makes a girl hate their friends enough to ask them to be in it? She sat alone, feeling at an open bar, perhaps, the vague sting of what she had only ever heard others talk about and had hitherto only been a theoretical idea: defeat. She ordered a beer, which is to say she demanded the bartender bring her a beer or else, even though it was an open bar. What kind, the bartender said. Whatever, she said with a V. Whatever, what, you want I should do your job? She had, by this point, adopted an unspecified foreign accent. Bring me a genius, she said. Then, more smugly, in a can. Her spirit improved, like she had set the man on an impossible quest, one in which he would likely meet a grisly end. He flung a wet cloth over his shoulder. Had the bartender misheard? Had she stuttered? A genius, she said, as if in red ink. She smoked, wore black, a French trench coat, rounded sunglasses, sans sun, the works. She rubbed a dollop of lotion into her palms like a person warming her hands at a fire. The excess she smeared with the backs of her hands across her cheeks and forehead, taming the wild wheat of her thick eyebrows. She looked remarkably like her mother, when her mother was a fly. The bartender returned with a can of Guinness. She wanted to steer him, but instead she thanked him. Oh, thank you for my genius. She finished the tall can of stout and felt unremarkable, like it was an ordinary beer and not a genius beer at all. But then she heard the unmistakable rattle of small hoofs. Or, she conceded to no one hoof and one foot. Aha! Holding the container to her ear, tapping the sides with the tips of her fingers. I have you now, my little genius. She tore open the can's face. It was as if she were witnessing her own birth, emerging from the head like a stupid idea or the blank egg of a speech bubble, a sphere of spent air the size of a windpipe. She held it between her thumb and index like some great pearl. What would she do with her life now?